What is up, everyone? Thanks so much for tuning in and along with me build a search bar using React. Here is what we're going to be building. If you hover, you have a quick animation. If you click, it will span and you can type a movie. Right now we have only 5 movies. We're not going to connect these to an API. This is not covered in this tutorial. And let's say we're going to search for a movie and let's call it Lord of the Ring. Okay, I have it here. Avengers, also I have it here. And if I type only the A word, we're going to be having multiple choices, as you can see, and you can scroll down. I also have this as a fixed high, so it will look good on every screen sizes. And let's say if I type some random word that doesn't have any movies, it will show sorry, no results were found. And if you click on the clear, it will clear all the text and you can exit out. Before getting started, I would like to apologize beforehand for my English. It's not the best, but as I continue making more videos and creating new content, I will get better at it. That's for sure. This is my first YouTube video ever where I'm recording my voice, and I promise that I will get better at explaining things out. If you would like to support my channel, please like this video so that YouTube can push it to more people. I'm also planning on doing an about me video, kind of introducing myself and explaining what the channel is all about. All right, let's just get started. Open up your terminal. I'm going to be using Create React App. I'm not going to be using Next or Gatsby. We can leave those two for another tutorial. For now, we're just going to focus on Create React App. So what we're going to be using is, make sure you have a node installed, and by default you will have access to npx, which is the command that we're going to be using to install our application. I'm assuming that you have a basic knowledge of React, but I will cover some areas as well. Okay, so we're going to create the application on the desktop. I'm going to create it on the desktop, but you can create it on any place that you want on your computer. It doesn't matter. We're going to be using the npx command. Just type it in the npx create react app, and let's call it search bar. All right, once you install it, you will have a folder here, right here, search bar. Now you can open that with your preferred editor. In my case would be Visual Studio Code, but you can use any editor you want. All right, once you have that installed and open, let's go to source and let's clean up this a bit. We're going to delete a couple files here that we're not going to be using. Set up that test, report, logo. Make sure to leave the index, don't touch this one. Delete the index CSS. App.test and app.css. Oh, make sure that this is not highlighted. What am I doing? And delete those. All right, the source folder should have app and index, those two. So we're not finished there with the housekeeping. Sorry. Let's go to index, and where we have a reference of web vitals, we're just going to delete that too. It's imported here, we're going to delete that too. We don't have the index CSS, delete that too. And I think we're good with this part here. Let's go to the app CSS and app logo gone, and just remove completely and just leave it empty, and let's just have a h1 that says hello, not hello world. Yeah, make it pretty like that. Okay, let's going to do a quick run. You can either use your terminal. I'm going to use the one that comes embedded with the Visual Studio Code right here. and the command to start, which can be found in here in package.json under script start, build, test, and inject. We're going to be using start. Yarn start or npm start, both will work. Sorry about that. Okay, it's working. So let's just resize this a bit so you can also see it too. Actually, let's do this. Let me, since this is not going to be that big, we can be using this here. Okay, that's better, right? Let me increase the font size so you can better see everything. Okay, awesome. All right, now that we know that this is working, I'm just going to stop the terminal real quick, stop the server, clear the server, and we're going to install the only dependency that we're going to be using in this app. And as you can see in the title, we're going to be using style components. For those of you that don't know what style components is, let's just go real quick. And it will be this one right here. This is basically the documentation of it. Don't get intimidated about all this code or anything you see. It's also very simple. Just go on the documentation, basic installation. Well, we haven't done it yet, but we can just do it real quick. Okay, it gives you two options. You can install it with npm or you can install it with yarn. It's the same thing. Choose whatever you want. I'm going to be using yarn. Yarn odd style component. Now it's installed, that's done. Okay, in package.json. Okay, we're getting to the section of getting started. As you can see here, this is a way you define a content, and this is a way you can use it. So basically you can create let's say we're going to create a title. Let's go back here. Let's say we have this title here. Let's first import the library that we already installed, which is style components, style font, style component from. Okay, good. Now we need to also run the server. It's not right now. It's not up, so it won't refresh. Remember, the command is yarn start or npm start. Okay. All right, it's working. Let's see if it's working. Whoa. Saved, and it's working. Okay, just going to go back. Okay, now let's say we want to use style this h1, but we want to do it the style components way, which is how the documentation is saying. I'm sorry, it's not this. Just define a constant and let's call it title, but you can call it maybe headline. It doesn't matter. It's just a naming convention. Style, and then we're going to use style keyword dot and whatever the tag you want to assign it. You can assign it a p tag, a div, or what is it? An h3, whatever. In our case will be an h1. Then we open bracket. This here is what I have here. I just look it up for you so you can have its template littles. Basically it's just template strings, like it says here. They were called before our template string in prior editions to ES 2015. Basically it allows you to have expressions inside the template. That's all it's doing. It gives you more features than the normal string. That's what it is. Okay, inside this we're just going to have space here. Okay, it's saying that we can just use CSS, your normal CSS. Oh, sorry, what is this? Okay, let's call and let's say that it has a font size of 24, a line height of 32, and a color of blue. And yeah, let's just leave it like that. We're going to save it. Nothing happened because we're not using it. So we're going to replace H1 with headline. As soon as we save, you see, it's working. Now if we inspect it, it compile down to normal CSS. You see all the classes here. The classes features is there. That's awesome, right? Yes. And so now that you have the basic of style components, we can start doing and get into the real application that we're going to be building here. Okay, we can just delete here. We can just also delete here because we're going to be using a different component for that. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is a search bar. For that, we're going to create a new folder and call it components. Inside that, we're going to use and we're going to create a new component, call it search bar.js. Inside here, we're going to export default function called search bar. That's it. And we're going to return, let's say the same H1 hello world. We're going to save it. Nothing happens here, it doesn't matter. Let's go back to app.js and we're going to import it. Search bar. In my case, my editor is automatically importing it, but if yours doesn't work, just go just do this. Import search bar, the name that you just call it, from one dot component and search bar. That's how you import it. We saved it and now we have the hello world. If I change something here, automatically will change here. But we have a better separation of concern, and yeah, that's one of the things that I like about React is that you can have multiple components and then just call it and import them as you need them. Okay, let's go back to the search bar and let's get started. I'm sorry, I'm looking to my notes. Yeah, okay. We're going to import in style components because we're going to be using style components. And now that I just said that word, I forgot to do something very important that I also want to teach you. Just follow me. Let's create a folder and let's call it styles. No, I'm sorry, don't do that. My bad. Let's just create a file and call it global styles. Because right now, this is what happened. It doesn't have any style. The web page doesn't have any style. It's just taking the browser default styles. So right now, what we're going to be using is another feature. That's the thing that I like about style components, and is that allows you to create global styles accessible globally through your application. And this is what we're going to be doing right now. So we're going to import brackets from style components. We're using brackets because we're going to import a specific property inside the style components library, and it's called create global style. Yes. All right. Then we're just going to create a constant and let's call it global styles. And then we call global styles, and remember the brackets. And then you can basically create any CSS here and it will apply globally. Let's say if I want to target all H1 that has a color of red. Oh, it's not going to be working because we hadn't hooked it up yet. So let's just export it real quick so we can use it. Export default global style. We're going to save that. Awesome. So now let's not do it on the app. We can use We can do that in the app, but I would prefer doing it in the index since it's a small application and it's better to understand. So okay, we're going to import global styles from global styles. All right, we have access here, and this, as you may know, is a component, so we can use it here inside here as a component, and automatically it will have all the styles that we want. There we go. If you don't see it, just hard reload with your keyboard and you will be able to see it. So let's go back and let's change it to blue. You see? Awesome, right? Okay, let's do some basic HTML reset that I would like to do. We're going to target all elements, and let's have the padding to 0, margin to 0, and the box sizing to body box. That will eliminate the padding and the margin. Next, let's have just real quick the body, the font family. Let's call it, let's have the Apple, but you can use sans serif or open sans. Just use whatever font you prefer. I'm going to use the default Apple one. We're going to use display flex, just follow me. Padding top 42 pixels and justify content center. All right, and it will automatically center everything out, and just give it a top spacing. All right, we're done with the global styles here. Since it's a small application, if you have a big application, you will have more styles here, but since this is a very small one, this will do the trick. Okay, let's go back to the search bar and let's start building our UI. First, we're going to create a constant, call it search container, and it will be a div. Inside the div, we have a position relative, width of 360 pixels, height 48, background F2, border radius let's call it put 0 for now. Display flex, align items, space, align items, center, and justify content, space between, padding left 5 pixels, and transition all 0.3 is. All right, this is basically the wrapper that will be wrapping around. You will see what I'm doing. Just follow me. So now let's create an input. Const search input style, and this will be an input. Okay, we're going to have padding left 48, border none, position absolute, top 0, left 0, I'm sorry, oh my, left 0, height 100%, width 100%. We have a background color, transparent, we don't have any background. The outlines, so annoying. Oh my. None. The font size would be 16 pixels. Border will be 1 pixel, solid and transparent. And then that's what I like to do for the outline. We're just going to have a border color and RGBA 00013. We just give it, yeah, awesome. So now let's use it so you can see exactly what we did here. So in here we're going to be using the search container. We're going to save it, and those are the styles. You see, that's awesome, right? Which is this right here. Now we're going to implement the input. Just replace the text inside and search input. Open and close since this is an input. And we have an input here. If I type it in, you see, it works. Awesome. And it also works the focus. Awesome. Okay, moving on. Now we're going to be using an icon. But for that, we're going to install another library that I like to use. So we're going to stop this server and we're going to install yarn art add, and we're going to install, it's called, let me see the name again. Okay, it's going to be called React Icons. For those of you that don't know what React Icon is, again, go to your best friend Google, React Icons. The first one right here is basically a React library to use icons. But what I like about this is look how many types of icons are, and also they have a search bar. Meaning, like in our case, we will need to have the search icon, and we're going to also need the exit icon. So in our case, we're going to be using this search. And you see how many suggestions are. You can choose anything. In our case, I like to use this one, and this is also one thing that I like about this website. If I click, automatically it copies onto your clipboard. Awesome. Okay, it's installed. Let's bring it up, the server again. So if you remember, John, start again. Yes. We just exit that out. All right, so we're going to request import bracket from React Icons. We're going to be using the first one, this one right here. And inside the bracket, we're going to be using what it was on our clipboard. Okay, we're going to scroll down. So now let's use style components, and let's create a button, and let's call it icon button style and button. Okay, let's apply the styles now. It will be a position relative, the height with 36, width 36, border none, C index of 1, cursor pointer, background none, on hover we have a color of white, and after opacity of 1, transform to scale of 1. And the reason why we use this is because, of course, we need to use the after here. We're going to style the after here. I just like to do it before, but here will be the styles of that after. So the content will be empty, the position will be absolute, the top will be 0, left 0, height of 100%, border radius of 50%, C index of -1, background, I'm sorry, oh my, background is 000, transition, of course you need to have a transition, is transform scale 0.0. And guys, I'm doing this because also I'm assuming that you guys, if you're doing React, you should be able to figure out what I'm doing here. Just this is basically CSS, nothing complicated, very simple and straightforward. That's why I'm not explaining as much as which one of those styles is doing. You should know that. But again, if you don't know that and you would like me to do maybe a refresher of CSS or me using Sass in a project, just let me know in the comment section below and I will be more than happy to do that. So for now, let's continue. Oh no, we only missed one. Opacity 0. All right, so moving on, we're going to now be using the icon. Just copy here real quick, just paste it. Remember this component, self-closing. This is no, it's not self-closing. Remember, it's a button, and inside this button we'll have the icon that we just imported right here at the top. Just copy that, and it's just basically a component, and save it. What do we have? All right, it looks really tiny, so we're going to have a special property that has this component right here, and it's the size. That's in the documentation of the React icons. It's not something that I'm creating. You can go and look it up to the documentation. There's a bunch of things that you can do, but one of those is the size. And let's have this size to be 22. All right, awesome. It's 22. All right, if we let's do another one. This is the icon, and let's do the exit or the close one, and this will be called just let me look through my notes real quick. Oh, I'm sorry, no, we're not going to be using this. Instead, what we're going to be using is another icon, and I already have the name, so we don't have to look it up. It's right here. Just write a comma, and it's called AI outline close right here. And this is the cool part. Let's just close this so we have more space and it's more clear to understand what's going on. Okay, in the search part, we're going to be using now a state. In our case, we're going to be using is active, but you can use anything you want. It's just a placeholder. Set is active. Again, nothing new. This is just how you use a state in React. And to use the state in React, of course, we need use state. By default, my editor automatically imported for me. You see, imported for me is basically from React. So the only thing you have to do is exactly this line right here. Import use state from React. Another way you can do it is just import React from React and just use directly React.use state. You can use whichever one. I just prefer the other one. It allowed me to be more concise with my code. That's all. So I'm going to revert it back, and then okay, and then the initial value of this is active be false. Awesome. So now we're going to create a function that will toggle the search bar. So write with me const. Since it's a function that I'm not going to be using on any other place, I like to type an underscore in front of it, just for me to identify that this function comes from this particular component and it's not coming from another component or another utility class that I'm importing. So it's a trick that I learned from a senior developer, but you can use it or not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't break it. I will be using it, so follow me, please. Toggle search. All right. So what are we going to do whenever someone clicks? And you may be asking, someone clicked what? Okay. You see this icon right here? This is the one that is going to trigger the toggle. So what we can do is on click, and we're going to pass the toggle search. Awesome. So whenever someone clicks here, it should trigger this function. And this function, what we'll do is set the active state to be is active. Okay, basically this sign, what it's doing is give me the value of this but reverse it. So if this is false, this will be true. If this is true, this will be false. So basically what I'm doing is setting the state to whatever is already in the state, but the opposite. That's all it's doing. That's all it's doing. So in my case, if I click here, this, since it's already false, this will be true. So I'm setting it to true. That's what it's doing. Okay. All right, let's see what else we need here. Okay, and now this is a cool part here. We're going to open brackets and we're going to check if it's active. This is the way you can do a conditional logic inside the return inside the React app. So if it's active, what do we want to do? We're going to show the close icon that will have a size of 18. I already know the size. And if it's not open, we're just going to have the search bar. That is the one that it will be triggered. So if I saved, nothing happens, but look at this real quick. If I click on the search bar, now it goes. We will fix that, don't worry about it. But if I click it again, if I click it, awesome, right? Okay, let's move on. At least this part is working. So now let's focus on our search input. Now, you know what? Let's do this part here. Let's do the animation of the container. So that's just one of the things that I like about style components. Remember that you normally on CSS, if you want to alter a particular element, you have to add a class. For example, an active class, fade in, fade out, things like that. And a style component also allows you to do that, but in a different way, in a better way for me. At least I understand it better, and it is more clear to understand also. So right now we have the search container, which is a div. So let's pass a property. Since this is a component, we can pass a property, and let's call it is searching. Sorry, is searching. So is searching will have the is active value. So if it's active, it's meaning that it's searching. This is open. If it's not active, it's not searching. That's basically what it's saying. And I'm just I typed this in just to make it clear to us, but you can type it whatever. You can also call it is active. But for better understanding, to see what's going on, just call it is searching. And now go back to the search container. And now this is a cool part. We have access to that property. It comes with the props. So how you access props, the properties on the style components. So let's say that we want to alter this width right here. The way you do it is $, bracket, props, arrow function, and then props that what the is searching dot is searching. So basically what we're doing here is accessing the props and checking if this exists, or if this is searching, if it's true or not. So if it's true, what are we going to do? The width would be 360. If it's not, it would be, let's have it at 48. And after that, we delete the 360 and just leave it at the pixel, because remember, this is JavaScript, so we need to add the pixels in order to the width to understand that it's 360 pixels or 48 pixels. We save it, nothing happens. Let's refresh it, and there you go. So right now it is false, that's why it's showing like this. We call it here. If it's searching, which if it's true, it will be 360. If it's false, it's 48. Right now it's 48. Now watch right now when I click it. You see? Now it opens, but in as well is showing out the exit button. So if we click it again, it will exit out. Click it, click it, click. I'm sorry. Okay. So that part is working. So now what do we need to do? Let's just check my notes real quick. All right, let's add another feature. I like it like that. Am I missing something? No, I'm not missing anything. Okay, so now let's add another feature that I forgot to mention you at the beginning of the video, which is the clear button. Basically, if you type something in and you want to basically delete everything, you don't want to like click the delete button multiple times or Command Shift and delete everything. You would have something at the right hand side that would help you with the clear portion of the input. So we're going to create that right now.